So Joe, picture this. Your business is running smoothly. You have the clients you want. You have the income you want. You have the work-life balance you want. Wouldn't it be so nice if your business could just stay the same forever? Like that, same clients, same flow, same everything.
That would be lovely.
And well, unfortunately, that is not the reality because solopreneurship, as we know, is a wild ride. And the one thing we do know is that the future is always shifting. So whether it's like trends, technology, our lives, if we aren't adaptable, we can't be resilient to things, we risk getting left behind. So I'm thinking today we dive into how solopreneurs can future-proof their businesses and themselves in that situation. If you're game.
Absolutely.
So starting with trends, I included an example in a book about running an omelet stand. And there are all these different things you need to be keeping an eye on. But if you're selling omelets, you should probably keep an eye on egg prices because as we know for the past year, those can definitely fluctuate. And that would definitely impact the business of an omelet stand. So every solopreneur has their own egg. For some, it might be social media algorithms. For others, it might be supply cost, client behavior. The key is to build in time, like on your calendar, to review what is changing in your industry and what is changing around you. Do you have any tips on how you do that for yourself?
Well, I mean, one of the things I've done, and I've done this for years, and maybe it's old hat, but I use, Google has a thing where you can go in and you can have Google basically scan the web for you all the time and send you an email with a list of the, pages that match your search term. So I have one for solopreneurs. I have one actually for my name to see if anybody's saying anything about me. Usually it's somebody using the expression, "Oh, some Joe Rando showed up at the party," but that's okay. But that's one of the ones that I really like. And lately I've been using ChatGPT, and I'm sure you can use any of the major LLMs to kind of say, what's happening. You got to specify that you want stuff, say in the last 30 days, but you can go in and say, what's going on in with solopreneurs, what's some things that have happened in the last 30 days, and it'll come back with sometimes some interesting stuff. A lot of times it's just press releases or other things that, aren't necessarily fascinating, but it's another way that I find that you can kind of keep an eye on things.
You know what I also just did recently that I felt so good? It was like a digital cleanse. Is I went and removed because I mean, over time we accumulate people that we follow on social media that after a while they're I don't useless sounds like I don't have a heart, but they don't provide the value that they once did. And so I went through and I unfollowed people that were just kind of cluttering my feed on LinkedIn and on Instagram for that matter. And so now I only see the relevant information that I want to see that helps me stay on top of trends, whether it's for marketing, solopreneurship, things happening in the world. And when I say things happening in the world, that's more so the Instagram side. Um, but I only see now what's important to me, and I got rid of all the fluff to make it a lot easier to follow.
Makes a huge difference. I have to do that again. I've done that in the past, and it makes it's like you have to curate your feed, right? And if you curate your feed well, social media is useful, and if you don't, can be anywhere from annoying to toxic.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of social media, I want to clarify trends. I'm not talking about like the shiny object syndrome, the latest TikTok dance or anything like that. I just mean you need to ask yourself, is this trend relevant to your audience? Or are you just chasing something because it's new? So that's a big thing. But yeah, this is not the ice bucket challenge or anything like that. These are like trends that really will benefit your business.
I do have a philosophy that I've used over the years, and I've talked about it before, I think, but for maybe not as much future proofing, but yeah, it is future proofing. So I've been in other businesses where we've sold something as part of our offering that went from being something that was kind of proprietary to some degree, and maybe it's something we did, or maybe it's something somebody else did that we bundled into our products. And all of a sudden, it becomes a commodity, right? So this thing that used to be expensive and kind of precious, now all of a sudden, everybody's doing it. I'll give you an example. We used to sell this database of store locations for grocery stores and Targets and Walmarts. And it had all kinds of data about them. It was very accurate. And literally, if you wanted the entire database, it was over 6 figures a year. And all of a sudden, people figured out how to scrape the web and go to these store locator sites and just scrape the data. Now, it wasn't nearly as good, but they were selling the entire data set for $4,000 a year. Well, we were getting 50% of that sale. And all of a sudden, now you've got this, much cheaper. So even if you get 50%, it goes from being maybe $60,000 to $2,000. And that's very painful. So what we did is we had a philosophy of whenever this kind of thing happened, treat it like a rising tide and try to float above it. So in that case, the data wasn't as good. It was cheaper, but we built out a way for people to use that data and then use our technology to improve it. So when they were out in the field, they could take their iPhone and go, oh, that store is not here, it's over here. Oh, that store is not 4,000 square feet, it's definitely 6,000 square, and edit it and fix all the data. And all of a sudden, they were able to make the data better, and we were able to sell software that was 100% profit, right? So that's the way I like to think about it. So when something like ChatGPT comes along and you're a copywriter, well, don't say, oh, I'm done. People can use this instead. Say, how do I use this to improve my craft, maybe be more productive at the same time, and make the same or more money by virtue of mastering the use of this new tool and building on top of it.
Absolutely. You made yourself resilient is what you did, which I think is the key to future-proofing your solo business. Like you were saying, like you need to figure out ways to keep going when negative things get thrown, or not even negative things, but new things get thrown in your direction.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you could view it as a problem or an opportunity, right? And and most things that happen to a business are happening to a lot of businesses. And if you can be one of the ones that figure out how to take advantage of it instead of getting hammered by it, you can survive and maybe even do better.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You're a glass half full kind of guy, Joe.
I
Opportunity.
try, I really do. And, I try to be glass half full.
Yeah, I think you are. And I mean, another thing to think about in terms of building that resilience is maybe consider diversifying your income streams. Like if you're a coach, have your one-on-one sessions, but also have a course that people can download on demand, and maybe do speaking engagements. Like think of ways that if one area of your business, when I say diversify income streams, I'm not saying that you also need to go buy real estate properties or this or that. But like within your business itself, think of other ways that you can bring money in the door so that if one dips, another one might be able to rise. And again, it's with the tide that you're talking
And, and going back to what we talked about in the last episode on, basically taking care of yourself. If you do get sick, if you've got some kind of a passive income download, that can still function while you're not able to get in front of the screen or go out to meetings and do things. So it's another reason to try to diversify to some degree. But yeah, it's, there's a very strong argument for what you're saying in terms of diversifying, your revenue stream.
Yes. Well, something that I want to piggyback off of that you were saying, I mean, I think continuous learning is key to building resilience and adapting and everything. But you were talking about like AI and copywriters. AI and automation in general is a great way to help future-proof your business, or is the future of solopreneurship. Is that a weird blanket statement to say? The future of solopreneurship. I don't.
No, it's not. It's not weird at all. It's not weird at all because the AI, the LLMs, generative AI they call it, that makes things. That's great, and it's made us much more productive as solopreneurs. I mean, I'm doing way more work than I would have been able to do a few years ago. But the agents, which I don't know are quite ready for prime time yet, but these AI agents that are going to go out and do things for you, that's huge. And when they get good enough, it's going to be almost like you can be an employee-based business without employees.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is amazing and scary as hell at the same time.
So crazy. I know, because we're talking about the future of solopreneurship right now. I don't think any of us can really comprehend where AI is going. I know we can talk about it and I know we can hear what's going to happen, but in terms, it breaks my brain. It's like when I think about the universe, it just breaks my brain. I'm like, what do we do?
It's so hard. It's so hard. I mean, predicting the future. What was it that Yogi Berra said? He said, forecasting is difficult, especially about the future,
Yeah,
or something
exactly.
like that.
But for now, AI is a tool that could be used for good in your business. You can summarize client meetings, you can prep for calls, you can brainstorm marketing ideas. It can act as your tutor. Like it can teach you things that you didn't know. Um, so for now and moving forward, make it your best friend and use it to become more efficient, to streamline things that would have taken you hours before. And then on the side of becoming more efficient, AI and automation, they're your beds. Automation, if you're not automating some of your systems and processes, you need to start figuring out ways that you can do that now. Because, like, think if you were on vacation and your systems could automatically be sending follow up emails for you, scheduling social media posts for you, invoicing clients, doing all this stuff behind the scenes, and you're sitting on the beach drinking an iced tea. Like that, doesn't that sound lovely as a solopreneur?
Especially today, it's kind of cold here. Yeah, that sounds great.
And I mean, don't drink out of a fire hose with automation. Maybe just like try to automate your scheduling first. Like we do that with Calendly. Like that can happen behind the scenes for us.
You're using a lot. We use HubSpot to do like email nurturing and onboarding. And imagine, I can't even imagine trying to do that manually now. We wouldn't do anything else. We'd just be like, oh, I gotta send the emails, today. And it's just like, it sends them out. And we can target different kinds of people with different kinds of emails. I mean, it makes such a difference versus trying to do anything like that manually. But yeah, I'm excited for agents. I'm not ready to turn them loose yet. I just feel like it's going to be one of those things where you're going to like do a face palm because something's going to happen, but they'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah, they will. And they'll get here, I think, a lot faster than we're ready for. They're coming in hot. But I think to wrap up the episode on the future of solopreneurship, I think you also need to think about planning for the long term of your business. In the book, we talk about like 90-day plans. We talk about just how planning for solopreneurs, you don't need the traditional business plan. We have a solopreneur action plan that people follow. But you need to know where you want your business to, or have an idea of where you want your business to be in 5 or 10 years to best plan for it. And you may not know the concrete things because that's hard to predict. I mean, in 2019, I don't think anybody had a 5-year plan that went the way it was supposed to the following year.
Yeah. 5-year plans are long.
They're long, but one thing that I like to do with those long plans are doing scenario planning. So like a what if exercise. So what if a recession hits? What if a global pandemic hits? What if you get flooded with, and this is also on good sides too. What if you get flooded with clients that you don't have the capacity to take on all at once? What if a contractor of yours disappears mid-project? To like play the what if game to help set your business up for long-term success. Joe, you're right. 5 years is a long time, but if you can kind of think more on the future and play the what if game of what could happen during that time, I feel like you get the systems and processes and everything in place now to best
It's good to think through. Yeah, I mean, it's especially with regard to what you want your life to look like.
Right.
And that's the thing. If you say this is what I want my life to be like in 5 years, it's going to take 5 years probably to get to that point.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where a lot of people don't do that, and they wind up, they go, how did I get here?
Yeah.
And, honestly, I've been there. I've done that.
Yeah.
How did I, and not with unsuccessful businesses either.
Right. Exactly.
So
yeah, practice what we preach. I guess my biggest takeaway from today is when it comes to the future of solopreneurship, it's not about predicting every change because we can't, but it's about staying curious, staying flexible, and just being resilient and ready to evolve with whatever change does come your way.
yes,
That a good summary?
that's it.
All right. Well, then I'm going to leave it with that. But listeners, thank you so much for tuning in today. As always, leave that 5-star review. It's great for the show. It's great for our egos, if we're being honest as well.
And you help other solopreneurs find us.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's a kind thing to do.
Yeah. Ignore that ego thing I just said. And subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube. Share this episode with a friend if you think they'll find it helpful. and we will see you next time on the Aspiring Solopreneur.